Hello, I hope you're doing well. This video is going to be about the Mars retrograde that is officially starting on December 6th. Right now, Mars is in Leo. I think I did actually a little explanation about this in one of my other videos, but I want to really focus on this particular transit because this can really have a huge impact on everyone. And then, of course, some signs more so than others. Mars will be retrograde until February 23rd, 2025. It's traveling through the sign of Leo, of course, then into Cancer. Usually the retrogrades occur every 2 years, and they last for about 2 to 2.5 months. So this is not something that's super common. During this time, Mars usual fiery sort of energy and nature, because if you think about it, when it's direct, it's the natural force of that planet. That is its natural way. When it's retrograde, it's going backwards. So it's more sensitive, emotional, pity parties and sad sobbiness, maybe not with all, but because the anger is still there. There's still anger from Mars. It just comes out differently. And that headstrong nature goes inside within. And it's leading us to focus on reassessing our actions and our passions and our goals. So because it's in Leo right now, it's going to be retrograding through Leo before it gets to Cancer. Themes of creativity, self-expression, leadership. So leadership roles around the world. This has an effect on not just individuals, but around the globe. Self-expression, pride, personal power, all those things come into focus. They're not as confident, they're not exuded with as much confidence because it's going backwards. Forcing a reevaluation of your ambitions and how you express yourself. Now, through each rising sign, it's going to hit different houses, right? So we're going to go through all the different risings, starting with Aries. Aries, it's going through your 5th house. So creativity, romance, self-expression, it is the house of Leo, obviously. Reassessing passion projects or your creative endeavors will happen. Romantic relationships may require patience and understanding. So you have to really just work with your partner. Don't blow up on them, and try to just work with them if they're going through some difficulties. Reflect on how you express your individuality and your joy. Then for Taurus Rising, it's going to be going through your 4th house of home, family, and your emotional foundations. So with that, it could bring up old family issues requiring attention and resolution. Some of your home projects or your plans, like if you're in the middle of renovating something, all of a sudden it's just going to come to a halt and you're like, I don't feel like doing anything. It's just like halfway through and you don't feel like finishing it up. It's going to slow down. So if you haven't taken action into that yet, put that on hold for now, at least after the whole retrograde process is over. Okay. Because otherwise there's a high chance that you're going to lose that drive and you won't have the energy to really process through it. That makes sense. I'm not saying that you can't overcome that. I'm just saying there's a higher chance that you're going to feel more weight and you're not going to have as much of a drive to do that. So focus on your inner emotional balance. Gemini Rising, 3rd house of communication, siblings, and your local environment. So be very mindful of miscommunication, misunderstandings around your neighborhood, your coworkers, friends. Revisit old writings like your journals, or if you have a book that you've been working on, maybe get back to that and start writing again, speaking or learning projects. There could be delays in travels or logistics that may prompt new strategies, because third house represents like short distance travel. So if you're doing like a travel, short distance trips and stuff, just be extra careful. Make sure everything is double checked and ready to go. For Cancer rising, it's going to be in your second house. And this is according to Leo. Okay. So, of course, it's going to go into Cancer rising's first house once it retrogrades through Cancer. But right now, we're just talking about the first step, which is retrograding through Leo. So it'll be in your second house for Cancer rising. Finances, values, self-worth, all the practical Venusian vibes. So reassess spending habits, financial goals, and your investments. Reflect on what truly matters to you materially and emotionally. Avoid any impulsive financial decisions and plan carefully. So don't try and make any new investments right now. For Leo rising, right here, it's going to be involving your identity, your self-expression, and your personal drive. A major time of self-reflection. Reevaluate your goals and think about how you assert yourself. Are you happy with how you assert yourself? Are you satisfied with the persona that you're giving off? Are you feel authentic? Does it feel real to you? Do you feel like you are actually being your authentic self? Energy may feel lower, so just allow yourself to recharge when you need it. Address any frustrations about how others perceive your leadership or confidence. So if you have issues with people that don't agree with you, just have a conversation with them. Just don't repress it. Don't hold it inside. It's not going to do you any favors by doing that, because eventually it's going to bubble over and it's going to come out regardless, especially as soon as the retrograde goes into Cancer. You best believe it's going to spew out if you don't address it now. So if there's things that are bothering you, or you can notice that some people who are bothered by your approach to something, have a heart-to-heart discussion with them and talk it out. Okay, so why is this bothering you? Can you tell me why? And it's not like you have to change who you are, but think about it like, maybe I could be better off doing it this way instead, or going about it in this manner. So for Virgo rising, it's going to be in your 12th house. So your subconscious, your solitude, and hidden matters and hidden enemies as well. Old fears, hidden issues, or any unfinished projects may come back to you around this time, whether it's haunting or not. It really depends on the situation and what it is, but focus on healing. If it is something that is still kind of a haunting that you thought you were done with and were over, it's going to come back and it's going to ask you to focus on actually healing it more this time. So you need to heal it more before it's able to fully move forward. Any kind of self-sabotaging patterns obviously are going to come to the forefront during this time. Take time to rest, reflection, and spiritual growth is a great time to do that. Libra rising, 11th house for you, friendships, groups, and long-term goals. So it'll be a time for you to reevaluate your friendships, your role in those social circles. Are you happy with the social circles you have? Do you feel comfortable with them? Are you happy the kind of, the role that you play in that group? Collaborative efforts may face some delays and require revisions, because it's basically just retrogrades or delays. They're all about delays. And if it's a delay through Mars, that means that there's potential that you can lose your patience, because think about it this way. It's like Mars, it's like he has some kind of like weight on him that's making him slower and he doesn't like it. But when he's not retrograding, he's able to just get everything done, push through the process, no setbacks. And so after a while, Mars can get impatient, right? So these are themes that you could lose your patience in. Use this time to refine your vision for the future and the projects that you want to pursue later on. So, Scorpio rising, it's going to be in your 10th house of career, reputation, and your public life. Career plans or projects may slow, allowing for reassessment. So perhaps you're having a more difficult time finding a job. Maybe you're looking for more ways to earn money and it's been difficult. Reflect on how you assert yourself professionally. So this will be a time for you to also kind of restructure your identity, like what is your outer persona come off as, your reputation in the career field. Like think about maybe as the outside person and how you would view like certain actions that you do, or how would you react to somebody who was like that if you were running a place. I'm not saying that you're not good at your jobs. I'm just saying we all have to go through these self-reflective phases to fine tune things and make sure that we're not unconsciously just moving unaware and unconscious in how we come off. I know that it happens to me a lot and I'm trying to get better at that. So, but I think we can all reflect a little bit more and to fine tune things. Avoid any impulsive decisions in leadership roles or career moves. So nothing too drastic. You don't have to go from 0 to 60. Just take your time and then make sure that you're kind of revising like your plans and your priorities and what you want to do in matters of like work and stuff. Sagittarius Rising, it's going to be in your 9th house of travel, education, and philosophy. So long distance. Now, this 3rd house is short trips, right? 9th house represents long distance trips, longer trips. Those trips can face some delays. Yeah, sorry. You might have to adjust. Revisit beliefs or any educational pursuits that need some refining. Use this time to deepen your understanding of a personal philosophy that you have. Maybe it's time to rethink an ideal that you had or have. Capricorn Rising, it's going to be in your 8th house of transformation, intimacy, and shared resources. Reflect on issues involving your debts, your taxes, and your shared finances. Intimate relationships could possibly face some challenges that require deep conversations. Maybe some touchy subjects that have been swept under the rug can't be swept under the rug anymore. You need to talk about them. It's not something that you can keep putting a band-aid over. So this will be a time for you to do that. And plus, like Mars, when it's retrograde, helps with that because Mars is being suppressed so that you're not too overtly bombastic. It actually softens the energy of Mars, right? You still get the impatience, yes. You still can flip out, but it won't be a flip out in like, I'm going to pummel you and wail on your ass. It's going to be like a flip out, like bursting out, crying and sobbing flip out. Okay. That's the difference. So just keep that in mind. Emotional transformations are possible through introspection. Oh, I wonder who that is. Hold on. Okay. So now we're on Aquarius Rising. Aquarius, this is going to be in your 7th house of partnerships, relationships, and collaborations. So old issues in personal or business partnerships, one-on-ones, right, may resurface. Avoid making any impulsive decisions about your relationships right now. It would not be a good time to do that because you could regret it. So just don't make any big decisions. Use this time to renegotiate your boundaries. That's a good time. That's what you can do, is like renegotiate where your boundaries are and lay out all the expectations that you might have. Even if you know that, oh my gosh, this is probably an unnecessary expectation and that's not good. It's kind of a toxic expectation. That's not the point. The point is you just put it all out on the table and then you renegotiate. That's how you come up with, okay, this makes sense. This is irrational. So it's the time to do that. But don't make or break, don't end, don't cut off, don't do any of that major, crazy, intense stuff. Just, stay away from that stuff. And then for Pisces rising, it's going to be in your 6th house of work, health, and daily routines. Reassess your work habits and your responsibilities and health routines. Avoid overworking and focus on sustainable energy management. So this all has to do with your body. Just make sure that you are on a balanced diet, and don't overdo it at the gym. Okay. Because if you try and you push yourself too far, you're going to get a major cramp or you can pull a muscle. You don't want that to happen. This is definitely a high risk time for that. So just be careful with that. Reflect on how you can approach service to others, like other avenues of being of service and helping. Good time for that. General tips for Mars retrogrades. Number 1, just don't do anything. Just pause. Okay. Just pause. Don't push. Avoid forcing progress in areas where there's resistance. If there's resistance there, don't try to force it open. Let it open on its own. Number 2, reflect on things. You're going inward, remember? So going inward, you do not react outwardly. You go ahead and react on the inside all you want. Okay? Just don't react on the outside right now because you're going through a time that you're reflecting on all of those feelings. If you let it out, that could cause some damage. Avoid aggression. Channel those frustrations constructively to prevent conflicts. A great way to channel those frustrations, and I've been doing this a lot more recently, it's been helping me a ton actually. You just write it all down. Doesn't matter. You can just write gibberish if you don't know exactly what to write. And you could punch a pillow as well. That's always helpful. You could scream into a pillow. You can, those bottles, well, I guess that's not a good idea. Use one of those stretch balls, like those little stress balls, not stretch, stress balls. Just hold those things and just get all that anger out, that helps too. What else? That's probably the best things you could do. Focus on the long term. So use these delays as opportunities for you to refine plans before you take a step forward, before you go all in on something. You have time to kind of reflect. So this is actually a saving grace in a way. Build sustainable systems that way, because then you can really, you're doing it in a more healthy way. It's to prevent you from completely ruining your life, basically. But yeah, that's what it's about for Mars retrograde in Leo. But once it hits Cancer, the energy is going to shift. It's going to change. It's going to get more Cancer's the mother, so it's going to be like that mama bear type of energy. Yeah. It's not going to be the same type of energy, but I'll make another video when that comes about.